You're in Dubai. You walk past Zara, H&M, Mango, even Zudio, an Indian value brand that has made it to the GCC. But one brand is missing. A brand with over 2,500 stores globally. A brand that outsells H&M, outsells Zara. A brand that earns 22 billion a year. Uniqlo, nowhere to be seen in the Middle East. So today's question is why? Is it a strategy, a mistake, or is the GCC just not the right market for them? Let's break it down one by one. For anyone not familiar, Uniqlo is a Japanese brand owned by Fast Retailing, founded in 1984. But this is not your typical fast fashion brand. Zara drops styles every 2 weeks. H&M chases trends. Uniqlo does the exact opposite. Their entire philosophy is what they call lifewear, everyday clothes designed for function, made to last. Think of heat tech, airism, ultralight down. These are not fashion items, these are technology products disguised as clothing. And the brand has grown aggressively. In North America alone, revenues jumped over 24% last year. Europe was up 33%. They have 900 stores in China, 78 stores in the US. They are in Southeast Asia, India, Australia, and the UK. But in the GCC, zero. Yes, you heard that right. Not one store, not even a franchise outlet. So let's look at the 5 reasons why Uniqlo is not here. Reason number 1, they don't do franchisees. This is the biggest structural reason. Most global brands that enter the GCC, Zara, H&M, Marks and Spencers, they do it through a franchise or a licensing model. They partner with a retail conglomerate, Alshaya, Al-Futem, Azadiya. The local partner handles the real estate, the operations, staffing, and regulatory compliance. Uniqlo doesn't work that way. They operate company-owned stores. Every single Uniqlo in the world is controlled directly by Fast Retailing. No franchise, no licensing. And in the GCC, where you need a strong local partner to navigate the market, that's a real barrier. Until recently, foreign ownership in the UAE offshore businesses was capped at 49%. That law changed in 2018, but Uniqlo had already formed its global strategy without the GCC in the picture. Reason number 2, their expansion roadmap is pointed elsewhere. Right now, Uniqlo's entire strategic bandwidth is on 2 bets, the United States and Europe. They are targeting 3 trillion yen, which is roughly about $20 billion in annual revenue from each of these regions over the medium term. To put that in perspective, their current North America revenue is about 1.4 billion. They have a massive headroom to grow before the GCC becomes a priority. In fact, reason number 3, the GCC is a luxury tilted market. Here's something that surprises most people. The GCC fashion market is $50 billion, but it skews heavily towards luxury and premium. UAE consumers spend over $1,600 per person per year on fashion. Saudi Arabia is at $500. Luxury fashion represents 43% of all personal fashion spending in the GCC. Uniqlo's positioning is the opposite. They are premium functional, not luxury. Their price architecture sits below Zara. In India, their entry price is around 1500 rupees. Even in Western markets, they are mid-tier. The GCC mid-market is actually dominated by value brands like Zudio, Splash, Max Fashion, and now Primark. And then there are those regional brands that understand the consumer deeply. Uniqlo would need to find its lane in a market that's either luxury at the top or value at the bottom, with aggressive local competition in the middle. Reason number 4, climate product mismatch. And this one is underrated. Uniqlo's biggest revenue drivers are heat tech, their thermal range, and their outerwear, including ultralight down jackets. These are cold weather products designed for Japan, Korea, China, Europe, and North America. In Dubai, Riyadh, and Abu Dhabi, temperatures average 35 to 45 degrees for more than 6 months of the year. Heat tech doesn't sell in this climate. Their airism range, linen products would work, but the hero products, the ones that actually build them globally, are simply not relevant over here. Building a GCC business on a subset of your range is a weak commercial case. Reason number 5, They've been asked publicly and they've said nothing. When Gulf News asked Uniqlo directly, repeatedly, about why they have no presence in the GCC, Uniqlo gave them no response, just silence. That's not that a brand is not thinking about this market. That's a brand that hasn't prioritized it enough to even engage with the question. So, what does this mean for the GCC? Now, here's what I find fascinating, and this is where my ground level experience in the region shapes my view. The GCC is not a uniform market. Dubai is different from Riyadh. Riyadh is different from Kuwait, and the consumer is evolving fast. Over 60% of the GCC population is under 30. Female workforce participation in Saudi Arabia has jumped from 19% in 2018 to over 36% today. There are millions of new consumers entering the workforce, earning income, and spending on casual and functional fashion, exactly Uniqlo's sweet spot. The casual wear segment is the fastest growing segment in Saudi Arabia's apparel market, and nobody is serving that functional, quality at scale middle ground in the way that Uniqlo could. This is the gap, and if Uniqlo wanted to enter, Riyadh, not Dubai, is the smarter first bet. The Vision 2030 retail push, the mall infrastructure, the growing domestic consumer base, it's the larger opportunity. So, why is Uniqlo not in the Middle East? It's not one reason, it's five. No franchise model, no GCC in their growth roadmap, a luxury skewed market, climate product mismatch, and simply no urgency. But here is my read as someone who spent 25 years on the ground in this region. The window is open. The mid market functional fashion gap is real. The consumer is ready. If fast retailing ever shifts its gaze from the US and Europe, even briefly, the GCC is a logical next chapter. When that happens, whoever holds the right real estate first wins. And in this market, that's always been the real game. If you're new here, I'm Elton, the retail guru, 25 years in retail across India and the GCC. Every week, I break down how the biggest brands win and fail in these markets. Subscribe, drop a comment. Do you think Uniqlo should come to the GCC? And if yes, which cities should they come to first?